it. I'm not going to lie. It was the world. It was the U.S. two-time American teams here. And the U.S. Stars beat the U.S. Stripes. That was the 47-21. Look, you can't win them all. 3 out of 4 ain't bad. But Anthony Edwards was named the MVP. He finishes with 32, 9, and 3 in the 3 games he played. Maxey had 9. Donovan Mitchell had 6 points in that championship game. And we're going to start with sort of the beginning here, Chandler, because after the first game, and it was fun, Ant said that Wemby set the tone from the get-go, and I would agree, having watched it myself. Do you think that Wemby has started sort of to change maybe the vibes of All-Star games?
Well, I definitely think that he took it serious. You could tell that first play of the game, right? He ducks in or he seals Cade Cunningham and just does one of the craziest dunks I've ever seen, just not even looking at the rim. And that definitely kind of set the tempo. And like a situation like this, I feel like it takes some time, guys kind of getting their feet wet, kind of seeing who's going to play hard, who's going to do what. And that was the first 3 seconds of the game. So that kind of opened up the door and everything. So I do think you expected it to be coming, right? Like he said he was going to take it seriously. Maybe he stayed up an extra hour at All-Star Weekend. But I do think more guys like him that will at least have some pride, have some respect for the game, and play as hard as he did will bring the best out of everybody else. Now, still, again, is it going to be the most competitive pickup game in the world? No. These guys are thinking big picture. They're thinking championship run. They're halfway through the season, and they do not want to get hurt and kind of cost that run in a pointless All-Star game. But it is fun to see plays like that. It is fun to see, down the stretch, guys trying to go at one another, guys actually trying to clamp, get in passing lanes, and making it more real game-like. But Wemby definitely set the tone early, and we got to continue to see more of that for this game to have any sort of chance.
Lou, you were there, right? Like, what'd you think? Did it feel like, oh no, they're caring?
Yeah, it was a great vibe, great atmosphere. I want to give the guys credit. We've criticized All-Star Weekend, the different events, down from the 3-point contest, dunk contest, All-Star games in the past. Yesterday was a great experience. It was a great experience. I enjoyed the fact that a couple of weeks ago, Wemby did set the tone and said, I was going to go out and take this thing seriously. Unfortunately, he was probably the only guy on the world team that probably felt that way. Other than that, it was the guys from the USA, either the Stars or the Stripes teams that went out and really competed and set the tone early. I love it. And, Ant-Man gave Wemby credit, but I thought it was Ant. Ant was the one guy that was out there talking trash, challenging everybody, pushing the pace in the open court, and just kind of creating a tempo to where the fans could appreciate watching one of the best pickup games in the world. And so it was an amazing experience. I was able to take my son, and he watched, and he was entertained, and I was entertained as well. And that's all we ask these guys, with these 10-minute quarters. That's all we were asking. Let's play hard for 10 minutes at a time, and we can get in and out of here with a solid product. And that's what they delivered yesterday. It was a great experience.
I agree.
But yeah, I saw defense. I saw defense yesterday.
I agree. I agree with Lou in the fact that he brought up Ant Edwards. I also agree that I felt he was a guy that brought a lot of energy, not only to the game but to just the weekend in general. His presence, his charisma, just the personality. Any room he walks in automatically that good, positive, fun energy is coming right behind it. And also at the same time, it's a killer on the other end of that energy as far as how he approaches the game and how he looks at the greats and how he just wants to compete against anybody that's considered just as good as him. I love the approach. I love the attitude. So I think, as much as Wemby has spoke on it and also went out there and did his thing as well, so I'm not taking that away from him. And Edwards deserves a lot of credit as well because he also, approached the game in the right way. But on another note for me, I've kind of been sitting back thinking about this whole situation as far as, these All-Star weekends and how they're being viewed and things of that nature. And I don't know if I can necessarily think I can agree with the narrative as far as, All-Star hasn't been quite as successful or as, as fun in the past because of necessarily the play or the players. And I think that's taking away, the accountability and the responsibility of who actually is holding these weekends, which is these organizations, the NBA and people of that nature. So I think it's easy to blame the players, but it took me hearing some players speak about it, hearing certain quotes, and actually just going back to look myself. And that person I'm talking about is Kevin Durant, how he spoke on. I looked at the past All-Star games, and they look very, very similar. So with those things being said, I had to sit back and think, like, is it necessarily the players' fault? And I do love how they took, initiative as far as we're going to do our part. We're going to go out here and put on a great show for the fans. We're going to make it as competitive as possible. And they did exactly that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, the game was incredible, but the weekend, the energy, just everything around it was really bland and low. And you can't blame the players for that.
You know what it was though, Boogie? It's just what you said earlier in your statement. It was just accountability, right? Like the weekend, we can't blame the weekend on the guys, right? But when it came down to the actual All-Star game, all we wanted them to do was just play hard for a quarter, right? That was it. That's all we were asking for. And yesterday we got that. So instead of harping on like what was the past, we got to keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing was the All-Star game. So now we got something that we can build off of. Look, young fellas, we had a lot of young energy with the new All-Stars. We had a lot of competitive energy. Now we can bottle this up. That was all we was asking. If anybody get on TV today and complain about the actual All-Star game, they tripping. Right. Because we got a good product. We got a great product from it yesterday. We got competitive. We got buzzer beaters. We had it all. You know what I mean? And so I'm agreeing with Boogie. Like the players take the brunt of the blame for things that are outside of their control and outside of their reach. But I like the fact that they took back the control of what they could control, which was their energy and their effort and entertaining fans. Like I want to highlight something else with me being in the building yesterday that I really enjoyed seeing. I was about 5 rows back from the USA bench, and the guys that weren't in the game, down to Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Tyrese Maxey, Ant Edwards. Every single person, Donovan Mitchell especially, all of these guys, when they weren't active in the game, they were interacting with young fans and the kids that were around them, taking pictures. Steph Curry went in the crowd and was taking pictures with fans and family and friends and people. And that's what I enjoyed about it. I enjoyed the fact that it looked like they wanted to be there. They were involved. They were active. They were a part of it. And they put the effort in to make it an entertaining weekend for NBA fans, and especially the young kids and the young NBA fans. So I enjoyed that part of it as well, man.
I'll tell you this, too. Like, for as long as I can remember, the Saturday was better than Sunday, right? Like, I look forward to the
100.
This year.
We still got some work to do for Saturday. But we're
going to get to Saturday. We'll get there.
Saying,
a lot of work for
Don't worry.
At least we had somewhat of a competitive game on Sunday, and I enjoyed Sunday way more than Saturday. So at least that flipped a little bit, and the game was better than the contest.
Right.
Because it's literally 4 12-minute games, and it's what Lou has been saying the whole time. Look, just play one quarter. That's all we're asking. And who doesn't try for a quarter now?
It's the guys. It's the guys you want to see.
I'm disappointed as a Team World representative. Luka, fine, you got a little bit of an injury. Jokic, I'm a little disappointed in. You're still my second favorite player in the league, but it would have been nice to have him out there. It would have been awesome if SGA had been healthy. We'll get you guys next year. Can we talk about Kawhi? Can we talk about Kawhi Leonard for 1 second?
Kawhi wanted that MVP. Kawhi wanted that MVP in his own building.
Not even playing around. That was insanity, him in that game, in his building, him not being named, like Silver adding him to the roster of All-Stars. All of this to make up the fact that he had 31 of his team's 48 points is crazy. Lou, you were there. It looked amazing on TV. Like I'm on my couch with my mouth open in shock. What was it like watching him live and in person?
It was a great vibe, and he had some home cooking with the Clippers fans, with the wall being up and them being the majority of the fans. Every time he touched the basketball, he got MVP chants, and he got off to a slow start, but you could tell he was being aggressive. He was really going for it. He missed a couple of little bunnies around the rim, and then it just clicked in. He saw one go, and then he turned into an entertainer. And it was great to see some parts of Kawhi's game that you don't usually see. Like, there was some razzle and dazzle. He was having some fun. He was laughing and joking with guys. Again, it was obvious that a lot of these guys wanted to be there and they wanted to be participants in this. And that's what made it fun. You know, can you imagine if those guys were out there still face, not having a good time, you know, lollygagging up and down the court? No, I think the NBA and the guys, I think everybody took ownership of, hey, listen, this event is going to be what we make it. And everybody showed up, and Kawhi being in his home building, he was trying to go for that MVP, but Edwards was just too strong for him.
Yeah, and what's crazy to me is when you think of all these exciting players, right? I don't think of Kawhi Leonard. He's more methodical, textbook, get to a spot. And when I look back at some of the best All-Star games in history, this was the best quarter. Like, this was outrageous. He went on a real heater. Like, in one, if his other two games, I think he had 5 points and 1 point or something. Obviously, Ant was unbelievable, and he was the most consistent. Anthony Edwards, like Boogie said earlier, he is perfect for All-Star Weekend, from his personality to his media to the way he plays and can defend and then still give you showtime on the fast break. Like, he is the ideal All-Star Weekend, and he's most deserving of the MVP. But this quarter in his home building as a replacement was unbelievable. And I'm just happy for Kawhi Leonard, everything he's went through injury-wise. The fact that he was able to put on a show in LA for the Clippers and for that new arena, that was awesome. And again, when you look at all the stats of the full game All-Star games, this in one quarter might be the most impressive.
I agree, CP.
Go ahead, Boogie.
You know, Kawhi came out, put on the show for the home fans. I think he felt that hometown love, just being able to represent everything that he comes from in that one place in one weekend. I think that was an awesome moment for him. I agree with Lou as well. I definitely think he was trying to go get MVP, and he made a real case for himself that night. Obviously, things didn't, play out to where he could accomplish that goal, but for one, he's definitely put one of the greatest quarters of an All-Star game. He laid that out that night. So I don't think we'll ever see a performance like that in one quarter of basketball again. So he made a name for himself in the history books with this performance. But like I said, it wasn't a storybook ending, but he definitely made a name for himself this weekend, represented the Clippers well, represented LA well, and I'm sure everybody from himself to family to the organization are happy with what he brought to the weekend.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about? Go ahead.
Can I highlight one more thing?
Of course.
Because I want to make sure that we give the league their flowers for this being a successful Sunday game. We complained about this early start, but that might have been the thing that saved this game. That might have been the thing that got these guys going. Like if we'd have got a 7 p.m. start and all the sponsorships and signing autographs and taking pictures for the entirety of the day, and then you're trying to get a quality basketball game out of these guys at 7 p.m. at night at the end of the day, I think we would have had a different outcome of how this game went. But because it was an early start and because it wasn't a lot of time to do a lot of the fluff that's around the game, a lot of those guys, they showed up, they went out and warmed up like a regular basketball game and went out and were able to compete. I think that had a lot to do with the results of how successful this game were. Like I said, these guys were engaged. They were happy to be there, and they were active. And I think a lot of that had to do with that early start. So as fans, we hated it. We hated that it was an early start because we're used to those primetime hours. But that might have been the one thing that saved this game. So kudos to the league. I know this probably wasn't the goal for them to start this early because obviously they were competing with other things. But that may be something to look into. The early start might be a blessing in disguise moving forward.
Look at you bailing out NBC. I was about to go on a rant. I mean, still go on my rant. But